Hi, and welcome to Cat Rin Figures. I'm your host, Caitlin, and today we're going to be reviewing Superman issue 13. Okay, so this is the continuation of the Super Monster storyline. I did a review of that, so check that out if you haven't already read it or haven't already watched my review. But yeah, moving right on into the comic, we pick up right where we left off. What is his name? Krug. Krug has just been unmasked, and both Lois and Clark and Lois and Superman are staring just dumbfounded at Frankenstein holding this alien terrorist, murderous person. But yeah, Lois ain't having it. She slugs the murderer and demands to know where her friend is. What happened to Candace? And the alien tells her Candace is fine. She's locked up in her basement. The alien apparently had to drink a bunch of her blood in order to slowly take over her form and take over her life. So we get to see a little bit more dialogue between Superman and Frankenstein, and Superman ultimately is kind of judging the way Frankenstein went through this whole way of smash and grab to get Krug. The fact that a number of individuals were put at risk and someone could have been killed. I mean, he could have gone through and simply told Superman what was going on, and Frankenstein says, yeah, but while I could have done that, Krug could have escaped. So you had to get him while you had to get him. So we get a prison chamber coming down, and yeah, the trans shell gets blown up as soon as it lands, and we get to see none other than the Bride of Frankenstein, which I gotta tell you, I love her design in this. Look at that. She's got two sets of arms and some serious weaponry. But they're fighting over who should have custody of Krug. She's a bounty hunter, and Frankenstein is an agent of Shade. So, who has custody of Krug? Who deserves her? Who's gone through the most for her? Well, they start to fight, and Bride of Frankenstein blows Frankenstein's hand off. Yeah. Guess it was not a comfortable divorce, huh? Not a very. Guess she didn't get a really nice settlement out of it. Anywho, moving out of it, Krug explodes herself. Literally, she explodes into flaming bits of herself. I don't know how in the world, but when all this craziness is going on, Frankenstein and his bride are screaming that they need to grab up as many pieces of Krug as physically possible. I don't know how in the world this happens, but they end up getting none of the pieces. Krug escapes. So this ends up being a huge fight between Frankenstein and his ex-wife, and it's up to Superman to break him up. And he basically says he could care less about a bounty hunter or a Shade incarceration, but they are going to help him get this horrible individual off his planet. So, yeah, Bride of Frankenstein has to start off by handing Frankenstein back his hand. And when we get to see his blown off hand, we notice he's wearing 2 wedding rings and not just one. And what started out as this kind of smash and grab, this is a intergalactical bounty hunter run, turns into this really sad story between Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein and how their marriage fell apart. And there's a great little heart-to-heart scene between Lois and the bride where, you know, they just have to deal with the fact that there's a lot that's unsaid between them. And the bride says that's how it always is between a husband and a wife. whale. They go on into hunting for Krug. They kind of find Krug a little too easy for my taste. I was really hoping that they'd kind of go a little bit more into the hunt, that they'd explain a bit more. No, they pretty much just fly right where Krug's ship is, and they stop it like that. And Superman crunches it down into a sardine can, as he calls it. And finally he just gives it up to him and says he doesn't matter to him who takes it. He just wants it off his planet. Well, there's kind of this really sad just rip out your hearts moment where Frankenstein offers the ring back to his wife. And he said that 3 can become 2 and 1 can become 2. And he's offering her the ring and asks if they can start over again. And just with this really ice cold look, she has the ring in her fingers and says 3 can become 2. 2 can become 1. And sometimes 1 is simply 1. And she just throws it on the ground and walks away. And literally, it's just, she ripped out his heart and then she just stomped on it and walked away like a badass with the bounty. I was like, oh, okay, that's sad. But Superman asks, what do you say after that? And Frankenstein says, nothing. You say nothing. And you just see him walk away from the ring, and he says goodbye. And it's really sad. And then we get to see Clark as he's come home to his wife, Lois, and they go to tuck their son in. And this is their family. This is his happiness. Yeah, what I thought was going to be like a great monster story with a great villain kind of ended up being this sad drama between a husband and a wife separating and what it's like to lose a love. And it was kind of like, oh, that's in the feels. That's kind of hurtful. But I think it was written quite well. I loved the art in this. I loved the way the bride was drawn. I loved her arms. And I loved all of the unsaid things in this. Things that just kind of pulled at your heartstrings that you didn't need to go into full detail with. Like, as always, Tomasi knocking it out of the park. I love this team so much. The Super Monster, while it wasn't so much monster, it was more a heartstrings moment. Okay, so this has been my review. Give me a like if you like this video. Comment below and tell me what you thought of this comic. Did it get you in the feels the way it got me? Because I was just like, ow. Subscribe to my channel for more comic book content, or check out any of my older videos I have up for offer here on Cat Run Figures. And until next time, I'm your host, Caitlin. Bye.